Well, the last session was quite informative. I think let me do a summary of what I kind of heard, because that sets the context for the presentation that I'm going to make now. In essence, spoke about where we are as a country with regards to the Smart City program. Vinay spoke about the public infrastructure and how it is closely linked to the quality of life vector that we are driving as an organization. My colleague from HP, he spoke about how healthcare or public health is a very important element in the overall Smart City program and drives the outcome towards the quality of life and the national health burden. My colleague from Nutanix talked about how the cloud infrastructure today has evolved to take on new applications and the new technology disruptions that we are seeing in smart cities. Overall, I think everybody has come to a stage where a lot of smartification, if I can use that word, is happening all across India, across the smart cities which are under the Smart Cities program. But personally, I think we are at an inflection stage where the path that we choose today is going to define whether the investments that we have made in smart cities or we are making in smart cities today is going to drive us towards a step change, or are we continually going to struggle with linearity as we've done before. So I think this is the right time for the consultants, for the city commissioners, for the technology vendors, for the media and the communication organizations here today, to go back to the drawing board and understand that how do we design systems on a platform which allows us to take a step change going forward from a smart city onto an intelligent one. So today my presentation is about how we are helping cities as SAP in building that platform which will make a smart city into an intelligent one. We are not there, but we'll probably get there very soon, because if we design our systems well today, with all the data that we are generating from the sensors that we are putting up across traffic, across parking, across municipal and city assets, we'll get those data in and we'll have to monetize that data for economic attractiveness of the cities, for quality of life, and for driving good governance. Just a quick poll with the remaining of the people that are there in the room. How many of you are from the cities? If you can just raise your hand. No, NSN, you would be from the consultant community. So which would be my next poll? So how many of you are from the consulting side of things? Okay. And how many of you are from the technology vendors or technology organizations? Very good, very good. It kind of gives me understanding as to where should my rhetoric lie so that I kind of drive meaningful discussion with all of you. I'll keep this simple. I think the stage that we are today, we need to do three things, because after I get off the stage, you'll probably forget almost 75% of what I have said. So I make this into three easily consumable points as to where or what is the foundation that we should take as a country to drive the smart city program into an intelligent city. The first and foremost thing is that we got to move from citizen services to citizen experience. The entire world is moving towards citizen experience. Now, I'll give you a very easy example for you to relate. Most of you book your tickets, like your rail tickets, your air tickets, or your bus tickets. People go to ClearTrip, people go to Expedia, people go to Make My Trip, and people also go to IRCTC. Now, between both of them, if you look at the traffic and we look at the usage and the experience that you have, there are a lot of learnings that we will have as to how the private sector is laying a lot of focus into driving citizen experience so that citizen experience drives more business. The point that I'm trying to make is the cities today needs to treat its citizens as customers. So just automating citizen services will not do. You need to bring in citizen services. So there are a lot of things, like say, for example, the entire world is moving from, a mass customization to a customer set of one. So each one of us is a unique individual with a unique need bouquet, expectation from our government, and the government needs to drive tailored, customized citizen services to that individual. I should be able to recognize who that citizen is, what is his requirement, what is his demographic or psychographic profile, and drive citizen services based on that and do that intelligently. Second, we need to drive digital inclusion. Today, the services that we have are probably for people who have breached the digital divide. Yet, there is 73% of India's population who have not been able to breach the digital divide so far. So how do I build systems that are inclusive? Voice technology is something that a lot of governments are today working with in ensuring that people can go up to kiosks, speak to a kiosk as if it was an individual, and get citizen services on audio or on video, and the government understands who the individual is, understands its commands. So there's a lot of development which is happening in the voice technology area. Even smartphones today with applications such as Siri and all, or Alexa or Google Home, work on that technology where you can speak to a machine and this machine gives you a service. So that's where we move from citizen services onto citizen experience. The second is we need to get over process automation quickly. Not that we've done it really well, but process automation is what we are doing right now. We are automating all the paper processes that we have, and this process of automation has been going on for so long. And this process automation now needs to dovetail into process outcomes. If you look at what's happening in the public services area, especially with city services, people are moving from a policy-driven government to a participative decision-making process. We started work with with a city called City of Boston about 10 years back. City of Boston has a beautiful application which is available both to internal stakeholders as well as to external stakeholders. They have built something called Boston About Results. Each city administrator has a set of key performance indicators in terms of what kind of revenues that are happening, what kind of development work is happening in the city, what kind of policies are being driven. And then they get the feedback from the citizens and from the other stakeholders as to how they are performing. So that application is live 24/7, open to citizens and open and integrated with the social media. So every individual within that city is accountable for the key performance indicators that they drive. And they tailor their systems, their citizen services based on the results that they get out of the Boston About. So that's about process outcomes. A simple example to understand what is process automation and what is process outcome is a simple thing. Let's say, for example, today, let's say the income tax department is able to process, let's say 40,000 income tax returns in a day. Just a wild example, as against, let's say, 5 about 15, 20 years back. That's process automation. It really doesn't mean anything to the citizen except for the fact that you'll probably get your returns results a little faster. But what means a lot to the citizen is how satisfied, how simple, how intuitive, how user-friendly that system is, which allows me to file my taxes, okay? So that is a process outcome. A process outcomes could be the amount of, compliance that I have been able to drive in terms of direct taxes or indirect taxes. A process outcome should be how much percentage of the national GDP I have been able to, contribute with the system, and how many people have been able to engage or drive compliance with the new system. That's a process outcome. But processing income tax return is process automation. And I'll give a city example as we go forward. Lastly, analysis. Analytics is an integral part of the smart city today. But what we are doing right now is real-time analytics, and to a large extent, what we are driving is retrospective analytics. What has happened in the past? How does it look like? what could possibly be better and what is happening now. We take a step further. What could happen in the future? Because using technologies like artificial intelligence, deep learning, predictive algorithms, we are able to then say that every day there is this traffic jam here, and then the urban practitioners and the town planners can go back and design something which may be a pedestrian flyover, maybe a intelligent traffic management system there, which will allow the traffic woes in that particular region to go down. So we need to move from retrospective and real-time analytics onto predictive analytics very soon. So 3 things: citizen services to outcomes, to citizen experience, process automation to process outcomes, and from retrospective analytics to predictive ones. Example of these 3: citizen experience. Now, blockchain, or this distributed ledger technology, a lot of you would have heard about its usage, about how it is taking the financial services sector by storm. But it's also taking governance by storm, and there are a lot of forward-looking governments in the world today which are looking at this distributed ledger technology in driving citizen applications or driving city applications. Say, for example, in a city, one of the parameters is economic attractiveness. Economic attractiveness is also a function of how open the city is to entrepreneurs or people wanting to set up businesses. But if today I were to set up business in the city that I live in, the number of agencies that I have to deal with, and the amount of paperwork, and sometimes a lot of duplicate paperwork that I have to withstand in trying to get a pollution clearance certificate, to get a trade license and set up my business, is really daunting today. But this piece of information which I'm providing the same piece to multiple agencies. And this data is available to so many agencies, but they're not sharing the data. Distributed ledger technology can help. In the province of South Tyrol in Italy, which is essentially a tourism destination, we worked with the city corporation in building a distributed ledger technology based on blockchain, how entrepreneurs and businesses can work on a single window system with the government, upload their document once, and then this document can be shared, in a very authentic manner with all the agencies, and the information will be kept sacrosanct. So that's one example how distributed ledger technology is helping cities drive better citizen experience. So it is not about citizen services. So citizen services here would be to say pollution certificate के लिए apply करना है, business trade license के लिए apply करना है, building permissions के लिए apply करना है, ये 3-4 services है. None of these services today are integrated in the back end. And believe me, I've been in this business for the last 20 years. I know what kind of integration is there. There's simply no integration. Blockchain technology can help, where agencies can share this information in a very easy way, And that's what we did with South Tyrol in Italy. So that's an example of citizen experience. Now, let's move to process outcomes. A lot of cities today are dealing with debt, property tax, debt, market taxes, debt, entertainment taxes, debt. And cities today deal with debt after the debt propensity has increased. We are working with the state of Queensland and the cities under the state of Queensland in Australia in building a system where we are using artificial intelligence and fraud management and predictive algorithms to understand where a particular individual or a particular business or a particular enterprise could possibly get into a debt trap, and then take preemptive action to ensure that there is no debt and the revenue that is incoming to the city is far more compliant, and we are able to work with that particular citizen or an enterprise or an individual to ensure that it doesn't fall into the debt trap. This is much better than knowing that this particular area has a huge property tax gap, which everybody today does, knowing that there is the property taxes that we have and that we collect is not equivalent to the amount that we had planned in the budget. So predictive technologies are helping, the cities drive the process outcomes. What is the process outcome here? The process outcome is property tax compliance. It's the revenue management. It's the revenue that comes into the city, which allows the city to provide all the services that it said. Because it brings to the fore one question that I think in the last session was not covered. With all the investments that we are making into the cities, please understand the cities have to be sustainable going forward to drive those services. A free Wi-Fi, this traffic management, this CCTV, surveillance, parking, smart waste, these are all pilots. They will be rolled out in your cities. When they will be rolled out in your cities, there will be a huge money or a capital required to drive that rollout. Where is that money going to come from? It's from the taxpayers. At the end of the day, the city mayor or the city commissioner will be responsible for driving sustainability, to monetize all the investments that he or she is making into that city, so that it can drive better governance, it can drive better economic attractiveness, and your quality of life will increase within a city. So that's the process outcome that I was talking about. I'm not going to talk about this slide because there's a lot of information up there in this slide. This is the city-state of Ras Al Khaimah. But I'm going to talk about what we did with the city of Indianapolis in the state of Indiana. Now, there are a lot of social programs or maybe education, health programs which are integral to the overall smart city. Now, the city of Indianapolis has had a legacy of opiate problems or drug-related problems, much like some of the cities that we have in the country. But what they were also seeing is that there's a sudden increase in premature deaths, deaths in babies. Now, that percentage was going up very high. And it's very easy to correlate the premature baby deaths or the prenatal deaths with the opiate problem or the drug problem in the state of in the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis. But when your processes are integrated, when the processes talk to each other and they are targeted towards outcomes, they are able to understand and correlate very effectively that the prenatal doctor visits or the visits to the health center had to increase. Once they started increasing the prenatal visits, and in our case it would be the visit of the Anganwadi worker or the midwife or the health worker to that particular pregnant woman, the incidence of prenatal deaths came down by 50%, and that is a step change. We've been dealing with increasing the average age of people women getting married in rural India from 14 to 18. And for the last 15 years, I've looked at the program, and we've said, and people have gone up on stage, talked about what beautiful work that they have done in this area, where they have increased the average age of women getting married in rural India from 14 to 14.6. Now, to me, that's a zero outcome, because we were to move it from 14 to 18. Okay? Now, same here, that if I know that the doctor visits or the paramedic visits to these pregnant women has to increase, we are looking at a reduction of 50%, not 5% or 10% or 15%. So that's a step change. Intelligent insight. Now, we worked with some of the travel and transportation components of the city. Like, say, in this example, it's Trenitalia, which runs the train services and the metro services in the Italian cities. And like every other city and the city components, they've put sensors into a lot of their machines and a lot of their HVAC or their tracks, and they're getting a lot of data in. But what do I do with that data? How does it help me to know that the Wi-Fi is not working or this particular rotatable in the diesel engine will not work? How does it help me? If I know it is not working, I'll probably take the train away, the engine away to maintenance, and I will drive a maintenance management routine. What happens? The train is not available. And what happens if the train is not available? Citizen outcomes go down because your rolling stock availability has decreased substantially. But that's what most cities are doing today. They're putting sensors, they're getting the data, they're doing real-time analytics, understanding where the problem is. Understanding where the problem is, gentlemen and ladies, is cost. Knowing how long this particular sub-assembly will last is a value multiplier. I'm able to drive profitability, I'm able to drive availability, I'm able to drive better citizen outcomes if I know how long this will last or how long this will provide service to me. If I know it's wrong, it's a cost. Now, say for example, and that's the difference between a smart city and an intelligent city. Today, if there is a drop in the, people are putting sensors up in the water network, they are understanding the pressure differential, they are understanding the turbidity of the water. They see a large pressure differential in a section of the water network. So what do? You send an SMS across to the department which is supposed to look into the problem. So that's being smart. What's being intelligent? Intelligent cities understand which is the next available resource based on geolocation availability and who's got the right skills to look at the problem. The next level of an intelligent city will understand that this pressure differential is not the fault of the valve or an illegal connection or water leakage. It is because the booster station is under maintenance and hence the pressure is down. So that's the level of intelligence that we got to drive. It saves a lot of cost because you don't have to rush people there. It gives you a 360-degree view of what's happening in the city and what could possibly happen in the city. So in a nutshell, that's about intelligent insights, how we are moving using AI, ML, and predictive algorithms to move from retrospective and real-time analytics onto intelligent insights. At SAP, and this is the only slide which is probably a little sales-oriented, we built a platform called the Intelligent Enterprise or the Intelligent ERP, which allows cities to design a platform which allows them to take all these technology disruptions that we are seeing today. Now, one thing is very important, that if you got to drive an intelligent city, if you got to drive smartification, if you got to monetize on all the investments that we need to make, we also got to drive demographic dividend. And that demographic dividend will only happen when it's not only the government, but all of us who has a responsibility to ensure that there is enough capacity within our country to drive this digital transformation and to breach the digital divide. At SAP, we are working on quite a few programs with the government of India. The Ministry of Small, Medium, and Micro Enterprises, we are working with them in ensuring that the skilled youth have the right capacity, the right information, and the right technology exposure in place to work with industries that are being consumed by the disruptions like robotics and AI and so on and so forth. So how they have the right skills to work in those industries. We are working with the Atal Innovation Mission and the Atal Tinkering Labs in ensuring that the large part of our youth, which is like between the ages of 18 to 35, has the right skills to work in the Industry 4.0 scenario. We are also working on a program called Code Unnati, which is to provide 1 million youth of India with the correct digital skills to drive this transformation of Indian cities. Because you will need people, you will need skills. You can't have technology vendors providing you skills because that's going to be costly. The skills need to come from within the economy. And we are working with them. We've already facilitated about 10,000 jobs for the people that we have trained. We are looking at Code Unnati 2.0, where we will be upgrading the program and exposing the population to the technology disruptions which are happening in the country. Every year, we work on a program called Saving a Billion Lives, because that's the demography that we are working in India, 1 billion lives. So we work on path-breaking transformative projects using ICT and SAP technology to drive that. We are working in cancer research to understand with predictive insights that which individual or which citizen could have a better, a larger propensity to cancer, and what kind of personalized medicines or personalized therapy can be tailored to that particular individual. because that reduces the national health burden for India. We are working with people like Clear Vision and Aqua Sanctum, working in the non-revenue water segment. So that's about it. I think I've overstepped my time by about 10 minutes. I hope whatever I've said has been useful to you. Again, 3 things: citizen services to citizen experience, process automation to process outcomes, real-time and retrospective analytics to intelligent analysis. Thank you.